All right, welcome back to It's Time Picks. We've got UFC Fight Night Burns versus Brady. That is Gilbert Burns going against Sean Brady. And overall, this is a pretty decent card. We're down to 12 fights now because OSP is out due to an illness. Otherwise, looks like a decent card. Joey, how you feeling about this one?
As a whole, we're back having fights. As you just said, the fight card is good as a whole. The OSP fight dropped, but I believe it got scheduled for early October for UFC 304, I think. Um, but yeah, I think as a whole, this can be a good card.
Yeah, I agree. So let's jump right into it. Very first fight, we have a Ultimate Fighter fight that was supposed to happen 2 weeks ago, or at least two guys from it. That would be Zigamontas Ramaska and Nathan Fletcher. And as always, we'll kick it over to Joey to start us off.
So, as I broke it down before, if no one didn't watch the first one, I was actually going to be on Ramaska. I liked his well-roundedness. I liked him being the better striker. But I went to go back. He does tend to give his back up a lot. And I think Fletcher can end up getting a choke at some point. But if there's no finish on either side, this is a stay away fight. This is more of a GPP fight. If you have a lean towards one side, okay, I'm slightly going Fletcher, so I originally switched my pick.
That's kind of funny because I switched my pick to Ramaska. I was originally on Fletcher, and now I am the other way. And part of it is, the illness and him pulling out and then losing, part of his fight camp. And I mean, he's had 2 weeks to prepare and get ready again. But I don't know. There's something about Ramaska and his overall body of work. It's going to be a close fight. It could go either way, but I am on the ever so slight dog.
I didn't expect your pick to switch.
It happens. So we are split on that one. I've got the dog in Ramaska. Joey's got the favorite in Fletcher. That is a flip from 2 weeks ago. Next up, we have Andre Petrosky going against Dylan Budka. And there's not a whole lot to say about this. Dylan is out of his freaking league in this fight. So he's basically going to bank on Petrosky dumping his cardio out in the first 2 rounds and hoping he gets a late finish. Petrosky should completely dominate this fight.
So we're gonna see what Petrosky we get. Last fight he wanted to get back into the win column, and he did with no freaking problem. And during that card, he was one of my Planet Flags. That was probably the easiest Planet Flag I had. Butka, like they're two good grapplers, but I think Petrosky is the better grappler. I think Petrosky is the better wrestler. Striking could be close-ish to an extent, but Petrosky definitely does have the power in his hands, and I think Petrosky is going to be the pure minute winner. But the only thing is that his price tag for DFS, if he doesn't get a finish, does he beat his score tag? Maybe. Because here's the thing. We'll see. Whoever shoots first will determine how the outcome of this fight could be. But I'm over
Yeah,
Petrosky.
I don't think so. I think it's Petrosky's fight.
Buck get a better shoot early. If not, he's screwed.
So that is that. Both of us are on the favorite in Petrosky. Next up, we've got Jacqueline Amorim going against Vanessa Demopoulos. And who you got in this one?
So for some reason, I can usually never get a Vanessa fight right. I usually never can. I thought that Cody won. She lost by split decision. There's probably a few other fights that Vanessa won by split. That was given to her. You know, this is the toughest fight for Vanessa. Amarim's a beast. I think she's getting better. She showed decent, better striking her last fight. And I think she's a better grappler. So I got Amarim.
Yeah, for me, this is one of the easiest plays on the card. Demopoulos lost her last two fights. She was gifted two decisions that she absolutely should not have had. That's not going to happen in this one. Amorim has 8 wins, 8 finishes. She is a complete dog, and she is just going to just annihilate Demopoulos. It's going to be a fun fight to watch. I do think she finishes, and I do think it happens in the first 2 rounds.
I don't think Vanessa's been finished yet, has she?
She's going to be this time.
Okay.
Um, So that is that. We are both on the favorite in Jacqueline Amorim. Next up, we've got Gabriel Santos going against Yiza. Santos is 0-2 in the UFC. He has not looked particularly well. He did get knocked out in his last fight. His first fight was a split decision, where the whole takedown ground control thing, there wasn't enough damage, so it went against him. We've seen that a lot. And he's going against Yiza, who was making his second fight in the UFC. He has five road to UFC wins now. And he's if you watch his overall or go and look at his overall body of work, not only is he still young, but this kid he's impressive. And his debut loss was questionable. I
Yeah.
think he won the fight. I think
Okay.
he's gonna come. I think he's gonna just put Santos away in this one. I don't think he's gonna leave the chance. I think we see the best part of him, and I think he stays in the UFC for quite a while.
So I was actually on him when he made that debut against Lee, and I thought he won. He had the takedowns. I think the only thing Lee had was maybe a few by striking numbers, but all the rest was he. And I was torn on this fight because I know I always pick Santos's fights right. I was like, you know what? I think Murphy, short notice, okay. And then everyone called me a jackass when I said Onama was going to knock him out. And what happened? Onama knocked him the fuck out. I think there's a chance where he can mix in takedowns. I think the striking could be close. I think Santos is probably faster, slight more power. But I think Yi's going to mix in grappling, control time against the cage. But yeah, I'm going Yi.
Pretty easy one. So both of us are on the fate. No, he's the dog on the
Balls.
dog.
He's like almost a 2-1 dog last time I saw.
Yeah. And Yiza, great time to get in on him. Next up, we have Andre Lima going against Felipe dos Santos. And where are you at in this one?
Legitimately, Lima could be 0-2. Legitimately, he could be 0-2. He was getting his ass dominated until old boy thought he was the Hannibal Lecter, took a bite out of him. And then his second fight with Raposo. One other judge could have given Raposo and he would have been 0-2. Dos Anjos, he's fought the tougher people. It was a split decision against Alta Moreno, which was close. And look, I was crazy enough. I picked Dos Anjos versus Manel Cop. And he held his own pretty well against Cop. I think Dos Anjos wins this fight. I really do. I think he's going to look at what happened in Lima's first fight and try to do some similarity, try to control it. It could be a slower fight. I know they're saying, two strikers, but I think Dos Anjos is the more well-rounded. He trains with Oliveira in that camp in Brazil. I think he could honestly make this thing boring to an extent. Hold him against the cage, maybe try to get some takedowns. But I got Dos Anjos.
Yeah, FDS is going to win this fight.
Yep.
Andre Lima has not shown us anything. You had already said he was completely dominated in his first fight and then won by a DQ. In his last fight, it was relatively boring. He didn't really do a whole lot. Dos Santos didn't do a whole lot in his last fight because Alta Morano took him down 9 times. Unfortunately for him, he's not going to have to worry about that in this one. And he should have better striking. He should have better grappling. Dos Santos should win this fight with relative ease. That said, I don't really like this fight for DFS because if both the guys come out and slow play shit, then you're not going to get a good score.
Yeah, that's how I broke it down in my notes. It's maybe prefer Dos Anjos by probably like a decision as a bet. You can probably get good plus money on that, but DFS, there's other places you can get to.
Yeah. So both of us are on the dog in Dos Santos. Next up, we've got Isaac Bulgarian going against Brendan Marotte. And to me, this is the dumbest fight on the card, and it's also the scariest. Not only is Bulgarian worth the most on DraftKings at 9,900, which
Yeah,
is just absurd, he also has ridiculous odds.
last time I saw it was like minus 2,500.
Currently, yeah, it's about that still, which is just ridiculous. I've got Bulgarian winning. I have no doubt that he's the better fighter, but nobody should ever be this big of a favorite, especially against Murat, who he happened to get knocked out by McKinney in his first fight in 20 seconds, whatever it was. So we didn't get to see any of him. He's not a terrible fighter, so I would put my pick is Bulgarian, but I would put my money and my cash lineups on Murat.
Yeah, what's gonna happen if you lower your guard, you're gonna get called by McKinney. It happens. Okay, I thought McKinney wins for most. You got to be careful with these big favorites because Targaryen's going to win. He's my pick. I'm not crazy enough to do anything else, but Dana White Contender Series, this chick was like a 13 to 14 to 1 favorite, and she just got put to the outer realm by one punch. You've probably seen it all over everywhere. She got slept terribly, and I don't think we'll ever hear from her again. But I don't see that here. I think Targaryen is going to get the wrestling going. He'll probably get a finish. If he doesn't get a finish, he'll probably rack up. And I don't mean to sound sarcastic, but there's a chance if he goes 3 rounds, he could probably have like 15, 16 takedowns if the guy keeps getting back up. Unless he accepts the bottom, different story. But yeah, 98, 9,900. Almost like I don't want to say use the word free, but it's almost like a free square. And then you got to figure out what the hell the rest of your line's going to look, because there's a good chance he's going to be the highest scorer.
Definitely possible. Both of us are on the favorite in Bulgarian. Next up, we have a very interesting fight to break down because this is where Joey's planted flag is, and I am completely opposite. We have Rongzu going against Chris Padilla. Joey, why don't you get us started on your planted fighter?
I planted flag. You know what? I have a question for everybody. What do y'all usually get for Tuesday? Do you like tacos? Because look, I like eating tacos. I prefer homemade tacos. But yeah, my planted flag is Chris Taco Padilla. We both said that in his first fight, we both picked Lion Top, but we did say that Padilla does have grappling. And what happened? He got to it quicker than smoother like butter. And I even sprinkled him by sub, and I was like, holy fucking shit. Okay, cool. Rongzu is also a guy that didn't have the best overall early UFC career. Then he went to the road to the UFC, pretty much cleared house. The guys he fought were absolute garbos. Now he's back in the UFC. I think he'll definitely have the power and striking advantage. But even when he first fought in the UFC, he really didn't fight no one that's going to try to bring the fight to him too much, to try to clinch, get the takedown. I like Padilla. I like Padilla as a dog again. He's giving me like this weird vibe. Like, who's the boy that Jack Jenkins broke his arm on? Who was a dog? Like, first, like, 2-3 fights. Oh, he just fought Jackson, the big 6, the guy that knocked out Sabatini. I don't know. I'll forget his name. But, yeah, he reminds me of, I'll figure him out later. Oh, the guy that Morgan Charrier lost to, but he should have won. Chepe. Marisol. There you go. Ding, ding. Chepe was like a dog in the first 2 or 3 fights. And look at him now. I'm not saying that Chepe is going to do that necessarily. But, yeah, I'm on Taco. I think Taco does get the takedown. I think he's going to get a submission on the first 2 rounds.
So the last time that you and I disagreed on your planted flag, you were very wrong. And I'm sorry, buddy, but you're going to be very wrong again.
Nah.
Oh, you are.
Okay, let's be realistic.
We saw Rongzu 2.
It's going to be by knockout, right?
Nah.
No, you think a decision?
I'll take him by anything. Literally anything. I'll take him by submission, knockout, or decision. I have him completely destroying Padilla in this fight. If you go back and watch Padilla's other fights, nothing is impressive. He's not a good fighter. He is very sloppy, and he is going to get torched in this matchup. We saw Rongzu 2 years ago in the UFC. He was 22 at the time. He's now 24. He is still young, and now he has 3 fights again from the road to UFC against guys that were either 0 losses or 1 loss. Regardless, they were still solid record fighters and probably better competition than what Padilla's faced. Either way, Rongzu is going to completely torch him. Your flag's in the wrong spot.
No, sir.
We are split on this one. I have the favorite in Rongzu. Chris Padilla is going to Joey as the dog. Next up, we have Trevor Peek against Yanal Ashmo. And I will never not take my Tennessee boy. So I've got Trevor Peek. I think he's got better forward. No, he's from Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama. But he's still a country boy.
He trains in Tennessee. He fights out of Tennessee. I think he's got the better forward pressure in this fight. The only thing that worries me is both of these guys throw a lot of power, and they kind of just throw caution to the wind and say fuck it and throw. But Peek has yet to be knocked out, and he has faced some heavy hitters already. So that isn't as big of a worry for me. It's just a question of who's going to get tired first. And I think Peak probably gets tired first, but he's already shown that he can go 15 minutes even tired, which is his body work is kind of crazy. It doesn't make sense to me. I think Yanal's only path to victory here is knocking Peak out. I don't think that he does it.
So if Ashmore comes in like the picture I sent you earlier, I still need to figure out what the hell he took because he's on his Popeye eating spinach times 5. Ashmore is the more well-rounded. He can grapple if he needs to. Do we always see it? No. I think he's the more well-rounded guy easily. But I will say this. If you're not a dog, you're not going to be an actual fucking dog. Because Trevor Peak is a fucking dog. And I could get into a bar fight 1-on-4. I call Trevor Peak. I can guarantee he's taking out 3 of them.
Probably. The dude's nuts.
So before I was going to be on Asimo, but I'm actually going Trevor Peak. I'm sorry. Until you got to absolutely old Yeller his ass to actually beat him from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And if you're not there biting on your mouthpiece like he is in every little thing I've seen, good luck.
Yeah, Peak's fun to watch.
On takedowns, which I don't think he'll go for a takedown in this fight. But he showed his last fight. He's like, look, I'm improving. I'm working on my game.
Yeah.
But
Peak is someone that people are going to have to look out for. All he has to do is protect himself a little more, and he's going to be gold.
But I will say this. Without a finish, this fight doesn't pay off. I really don't feel.
I think it will.
Without a finish?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the 8,000 to 8,200 fight, so they only need 90 to pay off. And I'm positive that they will get that.
If Pete gets a knockdown, then yeah, he'll pay it off.
I think he pays it off even without one. I think with a knockdown, he goes over 100.
Oh yeah, knockout definitely.
So both of us are on the. I mean, it's a pick 'em, but we'll say that Peak's the favorite. On Peak. Next up, we got Matt Schnell and his short notice replacement fighter and Cody Durden. Schnell's fight actually gets harder in this fight than what he had, but Joey, who you got?
I will say this. I know Cody Durden just got a new contract, so he wanted to take a fight with that new contract deal. Schnell is someone you can't fully count out on unless you absolutely just knock him the fuck out or put him to sleep by submission. Durden does have the better straight boxing. Durden is easily the better wrestler. Schnell, I'd probably give grappling to if it comes by pure BJJ. I don't know why I'm getting this vibe saying this is almost like the Mirror Sharp vibe where you could be absolutely whooping his ass and then somehow late round 2, round 3 he catches you. That's a weird vibe I'm getting. Schnell's going to be worth a sprinkle if you're playing a lot of lines, maybe. Maybe he gets lucky, catches Durden. But I got Durden. I wish his price tag was lower at 94 because most people want to try to pair up him and Isaac, which if you like the dogs, like me and him been saying, you could probably get to both and then dump or dive on some dogs. But I'm on Durden. I don't know about anything about them. I don't even seen what the money line is, but if he's 9,400, then his money line must be probably almost mid 2 to 1 at least. If he's 94,
minus 305 right now.
I don't like that for sure. No.
I don't know. I like Durden a lot in this fight. The only people that I don't like Durden against are guys that have elite takedown defense and a crap ton of power, neither of which Schnell really has. So I expect this just to be another episode of Durden just takedown control, takedown control, takedown control, takedown control, and he'll once again score somewhere between 85 and 115 points. So will he pay off? It just kind of depends on how many takedowns he gets.
Yeah, that's my worry. 94
play because if he said you said that he got his new contract, if he wants to come out and really put on a show, he may end up with 10 takedowns. So it's tough to say, but it's definitely a good play for GPP.
As a bet, I'm not gonna say put a lot on this, but there's times where Durden can get caught in the submission. So if you're doing hey, if I have $1, I want to try to multiply it by a lot. Snell by submission's not a bad play because Durden sometimes does get caught. So if you want to sprinky dink on that, I'm not doing it personally because I think Durden is probably going to absolutely whoop his ass. But if you're one of those people that want to sprinky dink like a Hail Mary type of prop, it's not a bad one.
That's fair. So both of us are on the favorite in Cody Durden. Next up, we have Kyle Nelson going against Steve Garcia. And for me, this is an easy fight. I'm actually rather tired of seeing Kyle Nelson just pull wins out. He's won 3 in a row against people that I definitely thought would have beaten him, and he just somehow pulled through. That line stops here. Garcia is an animal. Garcia's got the better striking. He's got better technical striking. He's pretty much better everywhere in this fight. And I have no doubt that Garcia once again finds another knockout.
So I'll say this: Garcia was a former flag, and that was one of my favorite ones because he absolutely chin checked. Who was it, Choi? Or it was I forget who that fought, but his last fight.
Sung Choi.
Yeah, he absolutely chin checked the living shit out of him.
I mean, he's had 4 wins in a row, and they've all been by knockout.
But one thing I will say this before I make my pick: the last few fights, I have not got a Kyle Nelson pick right, and that kind of spooks me a little, just a bit. And I was at Kyle Nelson's last fight where he fought Bill Algeo, and I was like, okay, Algeo can maybe survive the striking, try to get a clinch, try to work the body work for takedown. No, he got chin, he got rocked. Ref stopped it. Could have been looked somewhat a little premature because most refs would have kept it going. But I'm a Garcia guy. I've been since the Contender Series, and I know he took this fight on shorter notice, not as short as Dorton and Curse, but because originally it was supposed to be Kyle Nelson versus Calvin Kattar, and I was gonna pick Calvin Kattar in this fight because Calvin Kattar's boxing is fucking sick. But Garcia definitely has. I think he's better everywhere. He can wrestle if he needs to. He can definitely knock any man out in that division. I firmly believe that. I think he can knock out any man in the division. I'm going Garcia.
Definitely. So both of us are on the favorite in Steve Garcia. Next up, we got Jessica Andrade and Natalia Silva. And Joey, who you got between these two?
The line's way too fucking high. I'll say that first off. I'm not saying nothing against Silva. She is very talented. I'm going Andrade. I'm sorry. You're giving me one of the best female fighters still on planet Earth. She's not old by any means. None against Silva. She hasn't really fought no bigger name yet. And you're telling me you're giving me like a 2-1, almost 3 type of favorite with her over Andrade, who has power, has wrestling, can mix in anything. No, I'm going Andrade. She was almost my flag, but I was like, someone else took her, so I was like, fuck, okay, I'm good with my other one, my original one. So yeah, I got Andrade.
If I were a planted flag kind of guy, it's a little gay, but if I was, it would be on Jessica Andrade. I when I first saw the odds for this fight and that Natalia Silva was favored, I was completely just fucked. I couldn't believe it. Don't get me wrong, Natalia Silva is a good fighter. She's ranked number 9 now. She's won 5 in a row. The problem is that her best fight was against Vivian Araujo, and Jessica Andrade is still better than her. So I don't understand why Andrade is such a dog in this fight. It makes 0 sense. She's faster. She's stronger. She has the only thing that Silva has on her is the grappling, and Jessica can put herself in positions where she gets submitted, but I don't see it happening in this one. I think she just comes out, stuns the shit out of her, and then eventually knocks her out. Andrade is one of the best plays on the slate.
7,200.
Both of us are on the dog, a considerable dog, and Jessica Andrade. Next up, we have the main event going with Gilbert Burns and Sean Brady. I like Brady quite a bit in this fight. Unfortunately for Burns, he's now 38. His last 2 fights, he looked really good against Masvidal, and then he fought Muhammad, and he kind of got outstruck just entirely. And then he came out and fought Jack Della Maddalena, and he looked good until he didn't, and he got knocked out. And the problem with that fight and Jack Della is Della doesn't have the takedown defense that Brady has. He doesn't have the wrestling that Brady has. Sean Brady is still a top fighter. People are saying that he got fraud checked because he lost to, guess what, the guy now holding the belt. So all the people that said that, you're all fucking retarded. I don't give a shit. Sean Brady is still a beast. He's going to win this fight, and we're going to see him hopefully against Bilal once Bilal loses his belt. Because he's going
So
to.
I'm going to make it very quick. I'm going to have a 2-leg parlay with my man Petrosky and my man Sean Brady.
And the other Philly boy?
Well, hey, Philly, South Jersey boy, represent. But I'm I'm even gonna sprinkle both those guys to win by submission in a parlay 2 leg. Because I'll tell you right now, I think Sean Brady's the best grappler they got in that gym. I really, 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 really do. Gilbert Burns, yes, he might be the better striker, but I think Brady has more power. I think if Brady takes him down, Gilbert Burns is not getting back up. I can promise you he's not getting up because Brady's going to look for position. He's going to look for ground and pound, or if he gives up a head and arm, which I think if he does submit him, it's going to be a head and arm. And Gilbert Burns, he has good grappling, but he needs to be on top. On his back, he kind of is like, oh, shit, I'm going to accept it. I'm easily going to be on Sean Brady. If I was going to do a favorite, I was going to have him as my flag, as a favorite. But, yeah, I'm all over Sean Brady.
Absolutely. So both of us are on the favorite in Sean Brady. Really looking forward to that fight. I do think it's going to be a really good one. Next week is a massive card. We are at the Sphere. It's UFC 306. It's my boy Merab Walashvili going against probably Joey's boy Sean O'Malley. We will be split on that. I can already tell you that. I have been on Merab since he came into the UFC. I absolutely love the way that he fights. And then we also have the trilogy fight between Valentina and Grasso.
Grasso.
Huh?
I'll be on Grasso.
I'll be on Valentina. So it's another one where we're flipped on that fight. That card, we get the Ortega Lopez fight. I will once again be on Lopez. Aside from that, there's not, there's decent fights, but those three are really, they wanted to make it an amazing card. They could have done much better, but we get what we get. Either way, I'm looking forward to it.
So one thing I will be careful with, I saw a picture of apparently Merab has staph on his arm. I don't know. It was one little. It's not as bad as we saw on Fletcher, but
yeah, it's just something to keep an eye on. There's another week yet, so we'll see how that goes. But we will catch everybody then. As always, we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next week.